What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today I have a comparison video between the Adidas F50 Messi edition and the Sokito Scudetta. Now both of these boots feature like a synthetic leather upper, kind of a speed boot vibe, and I feel like these boots are kind of similar in my opinion. So I'm just gonna compare both of them, let you know which one is my favorite out of the two. And yeah, we'll just start off with the upper. So on the Adidas F50 Messi edition, we do get a full hybrid touch upper, and this hybrid touch is pretty soft and pliable. I really like it. It's kind of the best version of hybrid touch right now from Adidas, and yeah, it's just very similar to the Adidas F50 from 2014. That's how good it is, and I actually really like this upper. Like this upper isn't overly thin, isn't overly padded. It's like a nice in between, and so for me, I really like it. You do have this little bit of texture here that isn't very significant, but I feel like it does add just a little bit of something, so it doesn't feel super like slick or smooth. But yeah, this upper is just soft, pliable, and I really like it. Now moving on to the Sokito Scudetta, we do have a BioTouch upper here in this part. There's a seam right here and goes on right here, and this is a BioTouch upper that is soft. I feel like this upper is just slightly softer and more pliable than the Adidas F50, but just by a smidge. Like it's still, both of them are still gonna have a nice soft and pliable feel to them, and it does have a internal padded liner, and so I find that this one just has a little bit of more like just like I feel like it has a little bit more padding to it. Even though it is like a thin upper, there is this internal liner that has just a little bit more padding to it. So I feel like this one is a little bit thicker, not by much, but I just find it to be. This one does feel a little bit thinner to me. And here, this synthetic midfoot does a really good job of holding your midfoot in place, and there isn't really any rollover. On the Adidas F50, I feel like there is just a little bit of rollover. It's not the most secure midfoot on the market. This one does a better job, and also because of the fit. And I guess we'll just talk about the fit. This fit just feels a little bit wider, especially because of this burrito style tongue that kind of opens up really like wide. And so if you do have a wider foot, it's a really good option in my opinion, just because you can adjust the midfoot quite a bit. If you have a slimmer foot, you could tie them really tight and get a nice snug feel. If you have like a wider foot, you could just adjust it and make it a bit loose, just because it is like a burrito style tongue and there's a lot of space in there. And so I feel like this is a really nice like boot for a good amount of foot types. In terms of like the lockdown, it's good. It's not the best, I think, um, but it's not bad. This one, on the other hand, it is more of a slimmer fitting boot. It does feel really tight and it really like wraps your foot. And like I said, the midfoot here does a really nice job of just not letting your foot move around. And because they fit so snug, there just isn't any movement inside this boot whatsoever. It's just like glued to your foot. And so you really like that, like a really snug fitting feel. Like this boot is perfect for you. And in terms of the fit, it does have a urethral construction, and so that helps if you have a slightly wider foot. You are able to get into these. They may not look the best, but I feel like the upper is kind of soft and forgiving, and this kind of upper kind of forms to the shape of your foot, and it stretches, but I feel like it kind of like goes back to its shape and it kind of hugs your foot, if that makes any sense. This one doesn't really do that. This one kind of just molds to the shape of your foot, and this one just kind of molds and kind of like hugs back, if that makes any sense. And so this one just gives you a tighter wrap, and yeah, I actually really like it. For my foot shape, the Adidas F50 fits me a little bit better compared to this. Like this one still fits me okay, but I do prefer the fit and feel of the Adidas F50. In terms of the heel, like the heel on the Scudetta, I actually do like. I like that it's nice and padded. This like type of material kind of holds and grips your sock really nicely, and so that's a great like addition. But I did get a heel blister. I did find some rubbing in my heel, and that's just very annoying. Just because I haven't had that happen in a really long time, and I think it's the stitching here on the top that kind of just digged in and just caused the blister. And yeah, like I said, that's I just find that very annoying. I couldn't wear the boot because even though it wasn't a bad blister, when I wore it again, like it just kept rubbing. And so I had to wait until that little small blister fully healed until I was able to wear the boot again. And the second and third time I wore it, I didn't get a blister. I just did the runner's knot, and that kind of fixed the problem of any like heel movement. And I feel like it was just because I didn't tie my cleats very tight in the beginning. They did get softer, and I feel like that just caused a little bit of movement. So that was kind of on me also. So I don't really blame the boot, just because I haven't heard a lot of people complain about the heel. So I feel like that was just a me issue. But now I actually find the heel very comfortable. I haven't had any blisters. It performs great. It secures the heel really nicely. Like I said, a good amount of padding, and overall, it's a really good heel. It performs really well. So, yeah, I just had that bad experience one time in the beginning. The heel on the Messi F50, it's pretty good. Like, it's not as good as this one. I will say that this one locks in your heel better, has more padding, and it just feels a little bit more secure. This one, it's just like any Adidas heel. Like, it has a good amount of padding here in the back, so there's a decent amount of lockdown, and it performs okay. Like, I don't have nothing to complain about this heel. It feels comfortable, locks in my heel pretty nicely. But I just find that this one just feels a little bit better, in my opinion. All right, so now moving on to the sole plate with the Sokito Scudetta, we do have a more like stiffer, more responsive sole plate. At least here in the forefoot, it's very stiff, very responsive, and the stud pattern here is pretty aggressive. You guys can see they're all blades, and so you're gonna get a good amount of traction with this sole plate. I mean, with this stud pattern, and yeah, I actually don't mind the sole plate. It feels really nice. I like that it has an external heel counter, which is a plus for me. I prefer an external heel counter. It just feels a little bit more robust and just a little bit more secure in the heel. And yeah, like the sole plate performs well. I have nothing to complain about this sole plate. The sole plate on the Adidas F50 Messi edition is the same as the standard F50. And like I said in my other review, I just find that the sole plate is very neutral. Like there isn't anything crazy. It has a decent amount of like responsiveness. It's not the most like responsive stiffest sole plate, but it's okay. I actually prefer this sole plate over the Scudetta just because it does have conical studs and it's just slightly more flexible. I do prefer a more flexible sole plate, and this one feels good. It does have an external heel counter, which, like I said, I prefer. And so for me, I actually like this whole plate a little bit more than this one. If you want more of a speed boot feel, go for this one. If you want more just like a neutral sole plate, go for the F50 Messi. And in terms of performance, I feel like I kind of already hint on this, but for me, the better performing boot is the Sokito Scudetta. The F50 isn't bad, but I feel like it does lack a little bit of responsiveness in the midfoot. I feel like there's just slight movement compared to this one. Like it's still good. Like the responsiveness isn't terrible. It's not the worst like responsive boot on the market. It's just compared to the Sokito Scudetta, this one just feels a lot more secure in the midfoot. There isn't really any rollover, and so in terms of performance, this one is a little bit better in my opinion. All right, so which boot would I pick? If you guys saw my 2024 boot of the year, I went with the Adidas F50, and I'm still gonna pick the Adidas F50 just because this boot just fits me a little bit better. I find it more comfortable for my foot shape, just because it is a little bit wider in the midfoot. And yeah, feel like for me, just comfort is more important than performance, and so I find this boot more comfortable than the Sokito Scudetta. The Sokito, it is still a comfortable boot, but it's not the best boot for my foot shape. Like it does fit a little bit awkward here. It kind of looks a little bit weird. I feel like if it was just slightly wider in the midfoot, then it would be perfect for me. I can still wear them, but I just find that the F50 Messi just feels a little bit more comfortable in the midfoot. This one is the better performing boot, but like I said, for me, comfort is more important than like performance, and so I would just pick the F50 Messi. But if you do fit in these, if you do have like a slimmer foot to an average width foot, these will be perfect for you. Like if you like that snug fit, this gives you that. If you want more like a leather type speed boot, this kind of gives you that just because it's about touch upper. It's just super soft and it does feel a little bit leather like. And yeah, it's still a really good boot, but it's just not for me. So that's it for today's comparison video. If you guys have any questions on either of these two boots, just let me know down in the comments. I do have playtests for both of these, so if you guys want more information, just check out my videos. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified for future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.